Welcome to Alessa Boop Snoots.
My name is Vero.
My name is Heidi.
I hope your speakers weren't up. The volume wasn't up too high.
And with the first couple of lines of the show, we scared all of our listeners away.
Yep.
Did I just hear a woof?
Yeah. He's going like,
Oh.
he's probably looking at something outside.
Yes.
Woof.
Well, it's funny that we start out with a woof because that's exactly what I want to boop about a bit later. But we're doing some updates. We're talking about some videos, some behaviors today. Ralph seems to be on board. A woof!
Woof. Yeah.
Ralph is Vero's little golden boy, for all y'all that don't know.
He's a year old.
Yeah.
Teenager.
Yeah, and you almost got a second this week, too.
Oh my God. I hope my parents aren't listening because I don't think they would be very impressed.
That's okay. I've been through that a couple of times now. It all works out in the end.
They just love him with time, right?
Yeah. Vero sent me a photo of this beaut. What was his name?
My
Marshall?
God, Marshall.
Yes. Oh, man.
He looks like Ralph.
He does.
Oh my God.
Twinsies.
Yeah. So twinsies. He is so cute.
Yeah.
He's 2 years old. He's a male, obviously. Because we're saying he.
Yeah.
And he just sounds like Ralph.
Yeah.
It says, my real personality is coming out. Loving, happy, high energy. Yes, I have energy to spare. So if you're looking for a jogging, walking, hiking, exercise buddy, I'm your boy. I know my commands. However, when I'm outside, I get pretty excited and sometimes lose my ears. I'm getting better on the leash, and I only pull half the time. I absolutely love all humans and most dogs. We have no idea about cats. There are a few dogs that make me nervous, or I make them nervous, but overall, I'm sociable with my canine cousins. I literally never bark. Okay, maybe that's not like Ralph, as you can hear. Marshall says he doesn't quite see the point. He is nervous around loud noises, but he doesn't freak out.
That's good.
You can touch me anywhere. I'm a little grabby with my treats, but in an enthusiastic way, not an aggressive way. That is totally like Ralph. So yeah, he just sounds like Ralph so much. So at like 10 p.m. while I'm scrolling on Facebook, because that's what you do in bed before you close your eyes, I see Marshall. So I open it up and I read the description and I say, I wants. I look at my boyfriend and I'm like, I wants this doggo. So we spend like an hour and a half filling out this very lengthy application on the website. And I don't think we're gonna get Marshall.
Yeah.
I think there's a very long list.
Yes.
And there's probably people that have been waiting for a long time. And, you know, they try to match the dogs with the best. Yeah. With the best fit. And who knows, maybe we weren't the best fit. So we'll see. They keep our application so we don't have to fill it out every time.
Oh, thank God. I was going to say, because you told me how long it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's so cute.
He's very cute
right now.
I know. He's very, very cute. And I like this is the thing, like as soon as you might even like have the hint of, it's almost like baby fever. Like when women get together and they see a bunch of babies, then they're just like, I want a baby. I want a baby. What about the baby? It's the same thing with like doggos and puppies. Cause like, you know, here I thought I was going to wait this prolonged like period of time, but we were talking like, again, like we were flexible on what we wanted, like whether it was another puppy or a rescue or this type of thing, whereas like because all the options are like enticing in their own different ways, right? So maybe did you get the puppy thieves from good old Haidushka over here with her new Lou?
It could be Yeah, I'm like, I
But
want one too.
but any time where I'm like, okay, like ready for a dog or going to look for a dog, it is, you can find one because there's just so many and they're so
Yeah.
cute. And I love the organizations that do like the very in like the detailed descriptions and the honest descriptions about their
Mhm.
behaviors, their problems, their personality. Like I just it's so easy. Like I could find 6 dogs right now that I would be
Yeah.
like, I won't.
I wants that one and that one and that one. So we filled out the application, and then the next morning I was like, "What did we do?" I'm like, "Do we really want a second one?" As I'm
Yeah.
like watching Ralph being crazy.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of days, I was like, "Yeah, maybe." Like it would be a lot, but I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
So I kept checking my email and my spam mail and nothing. But now on the website, you can see adoption in progress. There's like this little circle, like dotted circle.
Hmm.
And that means a short list of applicants who have most closely matched the foster's wish list have been identified, and the adoption process is in progress. So
Uh, yeah.
I don't think we were chosen. But I'm like,
Oh,
oh, whatever.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
okay.
Exactly. You're going to find another snoot
Oh yeah.
at some
Maybe
point.
they'll find one for us.
Maybe. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh, the snoots.
Ooh.
All the snoots. All of the snoots. All of the snoots. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So,
Aw.
Vero and I had a quick little prong sesh with Ralph Verones.
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys remember on the last episode, we were sort of talking about it a little bit. And Vera was saying that she was having trouble with, he was like a bit reactive, right? Like there's Hazel and then there's like Mochi that,
Yeah. So Mochi's like the big one
yeah.
where we had gone to the park and Ralph was pulling so much to go see Mochi on a slip lead that he vomited.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
And I don't want to hurt him.
No, no.
And I don't think like I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
even think like he's so in the zone with Mochi that I think if something is hurting, I don't even know if he's aware.
Aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Mochi is Ralph's cousin, his floofaroo cousin.
Yeah. She's
What
so
it,
cute.
what is she again? Samoyed.
Samoyed.
Samoyed
Mhm.
Floofaroo. She's very cute, but Ralph is obsessed and does not listen to anybody else except Mochi when Mochi's around.
Yeah.
And then again, so like it was why did I come over to help you with the prong? What were the issues again?
I wasn't sure about the size, if I needed to take out
Mhm.
a link, and it is slipping down a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should try it.
Yeah. It's really difficult with the leads and again with your dog's body type and stuff like that. And I was
Mhm.
showing with like Vero, especially if you let them go ahead a little bit for sure, then you're pulling back and it tends to slip down the neck. And it's hard with some of the prongs because so the prong collar um comes first of all like in different like width sizes. So like there's like again like the prong that you use for a Yorkie is not going to be the same that you would use for a Dane, right? Like the
Yeah.
width, like a Yorkie is going to be tiny little like half a centimeter like links that hook up together, whereas a Dane it's probably going to be like an inch maybe like the prong itself, and then each link is a certain measurement. So sometimes it's like you almost need like half of a link because there's that much space. It means the difference between it sliding down your dog's neck or it being like way too tight.
Yeah.
See, I would say that, and then again, like dogs' weights like fluctuate too, right? Like with even
Mhm.
with my Weimaranas, there's not even like a lot of fur around or anything to like really like buffer the prong. It's like you can tell whether it's a good fit because there ain't no fur in your way to see. And Gibbon is like I would say like he's a touch on the tighter side of it, but I know that if I went one link up, it's going to slide right down his neck. And he does really well. And again, we're not keeping it on him for prolonged periods of time,
Mhm.
but it does become that difficult thing because you need, like I've said a bazillion times on this show, you need the proper placement of the collar, and it needs to be high up, like almost like around the behind their ears, high.
See, it slides down too much, I think, because
Yeah,
I'll put it on and it's in the right place, and by the time I, like, put my mittens on,
and stuff like that, it's
it
already
slides
slid
down.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, try taking one out and then see how that goes. I came over to Vero's and we went out, and one of the big things was like in the beginning when you're doing prong work, like I always say YouTube a bunch of videos and stuff. There's a ton of different people that teach like the leash work with the prong and stuff like that, and doing the 180s where it's like you let your dog walk to the end
Mhm.
of the leash and then you pull the pressure, getting them to turn back to you so that they get used to listening to you direct them with the leash. And you pull to add that pressure, that uncomfortable pressure when you're asking them to do something, and then you release it when they do the thing that you're asking them to do. So an example is with I just got a second Weimaraner. For all of you that didn't listen to the recent shows, Gibbon's cousin was returned to the breeder. They are the exact same age. She was in the litter right before him. Her previous family went through a divorce, and whatever family member took her couldn't keep up, so returned her to the breeder. We were happy to take her, of course. In comes Lou to the Easy family, a 5-year-old dog, French speaking.
Oui, oui, oui.
Wee, 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 Lou, Lou, Lou.
Loulou.
And trying to learn our routine and everything like that. So, anyways, so again, I think I talked about bringing a new dog into the home last week and stuff like that. But, anyways, it's just been trying to get her on board with our routines, and she's coming along very nicely. There's still a couple of hiccups, and there's always little things that you sort of forget along the way. There's also, well, now I'm getting into the part that I'm going to talk about later, but anyways, so I won't go there quite yet. But anyways, so for example, with the prong collar, I was trying to teach her place because we have our dogs sit in place on their dog beds while we eat dinner, because I don't want dogs hounding around the dinner table when guests come over. Nobody wants a dog in their lap or on their face or on their dinner plate when you're eating dinner. So our dogs go to place. So I had the prong collar on her, and I'm trying to teach her place and that she has to sit and then lay down. Getting her to lay down was tough. And so you pull it down to the ground, and she was resisting it, right? So she's sitting up and she's resisting it with her neck, and I just held it there on tension. Again, you don't have to pop, you don't have to pull harder. I just kept it there because that was uncomfortable, and we sat there for a good 2 minutes with
Yeah.
me just holding it. And this is like a good example of some, like, people are expecting like you apply something, a correction or a reward or whatever, and that it's just going to happen instantly. It doesn't. There's these moments where they test their boundary with you, so you have to be patient. So literally for 2 minutes I'm holding this leash down until, and then she eventually she laid down, and then the pressure came off, and then it's good, and gave her like a nice pets on the ears. Good girl, lay down. Good girl. And now I don't need the prong anymore. At dinner, she lays down on the bed. Like I have to bring her over and sort of coax her over there, but she knows that she has to lay down, and she stays there for the like
Yeah.
a good majority of the meal, and we reward that when she does well and stuff like that. So a good example of the prong. So we went out. Ralph had the 180s down pat. Vero, you did good work with that. He gets the whole pressure thing and stuff like that. But then when you're doing leash work, it's a matter of like you have to sort of watch them. So what we did with Ralph is we walked around the corner to this house that tends to trigger him, where Miss Hazel lives,
Baby Hazel.
the beautiful baby Hazel.
So
And
cute.
so I'm watching Ralph as we're walking, because again, this is another thing solid canine training will say, or any like super awesome dog trainer, is that don't wait until the behavior happens. Predict when it's going to come and correct the behavior before it even gets to that point. So one way that you do that with the leash work is you watch them, and when you're walking with them and they're just walking with you and they're listening to you, and you guys got a good thing and you're trucking along and they're walking in the heel position next to your body, their ears are back, they're not looking at anything else. As soon as their ears pop up, like, what's that?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Ooh, that's where Hazel lives. You give them a quick, tiny little pop on the collar. and you whatever your no noise is. For me, it's
Eh,
eh, eh,
eh,
eh, eh.
eh.
And you just keep on trucking and you keep going. And we walked on back and forth in front of Hazel's house, turning around on the leash. There was a couple of times where he was a little bit resistant, but not for very long. And he did very
Mm-hmm.
well. He did very, very well.
Yeah.
And has he
He's
continued?
walking a lot better now.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm having trouble watching him right now
Yeah.
because of the snow and all that. I'm like, I kind of have to watch where I'm going as
Yes,
well.
yes, it's like that time of year where it's like it snows a bit and then it melts a bit and then there's ice and then there's snow on top of the ice and then
Yeah.
maybe a bit more snow and then maybe a little bit more freezing rain and ice. So like it's not like steady like road walking right now for sure. Like even taking my dogs across the street to the park, like oh my god, like there wasn't really nobody walked there, so it was like the crunchy snow where you like go crunch, 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 crunch. It's like the crunch and then the sink down of what's underneath. And it's very awkward walking your dogs into an area like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
Vero and I were talking about how we're anxious for the spring and the summer
Oh my God, I can't wait. I
to
feel
come on
like
its way.
training is going
Yeah.
to be so much easier. But yeah, my
Yes.
last walk with Ralph was a lot better. He gets excited as we get closer and closer to home.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of 180s when I'm kind of close to my house.
Hmm.
But my last walk, I was stopped on the street talking to my neighbor, and Ralph was just kind of sitting there and he was being so good, like just sitting there. And then this husky, and I think I might have mentioned this on another episode or I mentioned this to you, Heidi, but there's this family that has a puppy husky. I think he's
Hmm.
a year old now,
Hmm.
and they walk him loose.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So this puppy shows up out of nowhere and is just all over Ralph. And Ralph is pulling with his prong collar. He's like a little like nervous around the husky. And the
So
husky's like jumping over him and like playful, like aggressively playful, I would say. And my neighbor was like, "Oh, oh." I'm like, "Oh, they're just playing, but like it's not cool."
yeah,
Like,
and it's not cool. That's
yeah.
so not cool.
So this family is just kind of walking super slowly and they're trying to call their dog back and the dog goes back and Ralph is just like, "Okay." And then I make him sit and he sits
And then he
and
comes
then the
running
dog
over
shows up
again.
again.
Yeah, exactly. I would just say we're trying to do some training over here. Like, is there any way for you guys to leash up or like
It's
sometimes I do that.
illegal.
I know.
It's illegal. And then the family shows up and they just stand around and
And
I'm
let
just
their
like,
puppy
"Okay,
like
okay,
charge your
time to
fucking
go."
dog.
Time to
Exactly.
go. So then I keep walking. I say bye to my neighbor who was on a walk. And then I decide to go get the mail. So I go past my house to the mailbox. It's like
Hmm.
a community mailbox.
Hmm.
And the husky's there again.
Oh
So
my
he's
god.
running up to Ralph. And I told him, I'm like, "You really need to put a leash on your dog." And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And his name is Spirit. They're like, "Spirit, come on. Spirit, come on."
And is he
And he
listening?
doesn't.
Yeah.
He goes like
And I'd
back and forth. And
so
there's a
I'd say
car and the
I'm
car has to stop.
oh no way.
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, he's going to get
Oops.
hit."
I just almost said a bad word. But
Oops.
whoopsies. No, that is so frustrating and I would just be like I'm trying to train my dog over here and I'm not sure how much training you guys do, but it's really difficult with the puppy jumping all over him.
Hmm.
Like, could you please be a bit respectful? Like, if you want to take him to an off leash park, like by all means, go for it. But in this neighborhood, like, I would say it's number one bylaw, and number two, like, just respectful to your neighbors and their
Yeah.
dogs. Like, is the dog even vaccinated? I would ask that too.
Yeah.
Ooh, now we're getting into
Ooh.
vaccination
Ooh.
politics with the
Ooh.
doggies.
I'm
Is your is Spirit an anti-vaxxer?
Was he at the parliament?
Oh my
Sorry.
god.
It's all right.
we just got political on Let's Boop Snoots.
But yeah,
What's
and I'm pretty sure this man had a drink in his hand. My neighbor
mm,
was like, "Did he have a drink?" I'm like, "I think so." So a lot of illegal stuff going on my street.
Do you know where he lives?
Yes.
I would call I shouldn't say this on the show. I don't want
He's
to
going to
sound
know it's
like a
me.
Karen. He's going to know it's you. But at the same time, somebody's going to do it at some point.
Yeah.
You can't let your dog run loose around the neighborhood, man. I get mad when
And he
people do
runs
that with
far.
cats. I get mad when people do it with cats
Yeah.
because cats come and they poop.
They
They,
poop, but
they
they also get hit by cars, and that's sad.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's not.
So the
It's not
dog runs.
safe. It's not healthy. It's not good. It's just all bad.
Yeah.
I say Karen that, man.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um,
That is
yeah,
so
because he runs like
frustrating.
far enough away from them. Because my neighbor said she came out for her walk and she saw the dog and she was like, "Whose dog is this?" Like she couldn't see anybody.
Oh my god. Don't know what I would do. I would take that dog and I'd bring it to the Humane Society and say, found this dog loose.
Come into my car, doggy.
Yep. I would take
But
the
then is
dog.
somebody gonna adopt him?
Hopefully, somebody who puts the dog on a leash and properly takes care of it. And then that's another thing too. That like that's a huge pain in the ass and a deterrent, because you technically, and I shouldn't be saying this on the show either. Not that all of Ottawa is listening to us by any means, but anyways, is so let's say I let my dog run loose in the park even, and I lose control of him. He takes off. Somebody picks up the dog because they think it's a loose dog and they can't find the owners anywhere. They take him
Mm-hmm.
to the Humane Society. Now I have to pay registration with the city. I have to license my dog. I have to pay for a dog license. So many people don't pay for dog licenses. And once you pay for a dog license, then you're on the record and you get a bill for it like every single year. And it's like, I'm sure going to be one of those things that just goes up and up and up. I think it's like $20 right now. But I'm sure it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be like $30 and then like $40 and then
Mm-hmm.
$50. And you know what I mean? Like everything else.
Do you think if I take him and I keep him, they'll notice?
You do have a pretty big window at the front of your house.
And they
As I
live
say.
pretty close by. I think they'll see him.
I would tell your neighbor, if you ever see her loose again, pick her up and take her to the Humane Society. It will be a huge pain in the ass for them. And maybe they'll think about putting their dog on a leash.
Mm,
People keep doing that.
yeah.
Sorry, man. It was loose. Was that Spirit? Oh my god, I just didn't recognize her.
And he's a husky, so I don't know. Not that I want to doggy discriminate, but if I saw like a husky running at me versus a lab or like a golden retriever,
Hmm.
I'd be more scared of the
Yeah,
husky.
I'm surprised that the husky even stays close, because huskies like take off,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of coyotes. Did I tell you about the
Mhm.
coyotes in my neighborhood?
Mhm. No, you
Yes.
haven't, but there
Oh,
are.
yes. There's lots of coyotes. Coyotes! Ow!
Like when we leave Ralph out, like we're always watching him
Hmm.
in his little chicken
This little
chicken
chicken
fenced
coop.
in area.
You need to get some chickens. Oh my god. Do you think Ralph would kill the chickens?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
I think Gibbon would.
I think he'd be curious. I
That's the
think
other
he'd be
thing.
like hesitant. He'd be like, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Um, yeah, so
Oh,
ah,
what to do?
what to do? I say Karen it.
Karen it?
Yeah.
I'll give him a chance. I'll give him a second warning.
Yes. I would just say I'm trying to train my dog and it's really hard with the puppy jumping all over him. Do you need help with dog training? I can help you. I boop snoots.
But you need a leash.
But it starts with a leash, dude.
And it's going to be hard because now he's always loose.
Oh my god, that's crazy. That's craziness. Oh my god.
Let your spirit loose.
Yes. So, can I talk about Lou?
Yes. A
Lou,
loose.
Lou, skip to my Lou, my Lucy Lou, Lucy Lou. Um, Again, it's like one of those things where it's like you go to get like a new dog, and do I get a rescue? Do I get a this? Do I get a that? Anyways, Lou, I don't know if you can count her as a rescue more of like a rehoming, I would say. But you forget about these things about bringing like a dog into your house, like about their personality and about their all these little things. So, like I mentioned on the previous episode, you start by really containing where they go in the house and leaving a leash on them, which I did for the first few days. And she's a very submissive dog. And now we're starting to question like if she was like slightly abused where she was, because she's very, very nervous and jumpy. And again, it's still pretty early on. Like we're at like what, 3 weeks now, 3, 4 weeks. So she's definitely
Mhm.
a lot more comfortable, but there's like little behavior things. And like people always say with two dogs, like there's a lot of great things that happen, but there's also like not so great things that happen. So I'll talk about a couple of the things that I'm looking at where I'm like, and might want to change them. And then, but there's one big thing that I'm really not liking so far. So the big thing that I'm really not liking so far is I find she's making Gibbon, the dog that we already have, more reactive. So because she's nervous, or because I don't know, it's if it's from her, like you never know, right? Because you don't know what their life was like before they come to you. But any noise in the house and the door opens or somebody walks by outside or a dog walks by outside, she is big time like reactive, like, and then it just is triggering Gibbon like way more. So lots of barks in the house. So
Mm.
like, and I hate it. Like to me, if it's like the doorbell rings, it's like, yeah, okay, we can work on it, but at least it's like that one trigger. But it's like you can be sitting there like watching a TV show and everything's quiet and everything's all good, and then like literally it's like like one of our kids bangs the wall by accident or something like that upstairs, and they're like like
Oh
jump off the
no.
couch, like super loud barks, right? And I don't like that. Don't like that reactivity, so got to work on it. And we're like we just moved like our main TV room to the front of our house where the big picture window is, which is good because I can sit there with them. We let our dogs on the couch with us, so I can sit there and monitor the behavior. So one thing that I took to this week was a couple of videos of how to stop the barking. And I watched a Cesar Millan video, but then I turned to my one of our faves, the Solid Canine Training. And what I like about Solid Canine Training is like the amount of videos that they produce, like on a particular topic. So like there's like literally an entire session that he filmed with a woman who has a super barky dog that reacts to like kids, like skateboards, like any like a strong breeze, like and so watching that session was like a little bit helpful. And then he has like the little quick videos that he does like on Facebook where he just talks about like what to do. And like again, he's like very much about corrective measures, and so am I. But I sat there on the couch with the prong collar on them, and it worked really well with Lou. But like after a day of doing it, like it's not a ton better, and maybe I have to keep it up, or maybe I need to try a different type of corrective measure, like maybe a bonker. For anyone who hasn't heard of the bonker, it's like the a more humane version of the rolled up newspaper. You get like a dish towel or a hand cloth of some sort, and you just roll it up and put elastic bands on it, and you throw it at them like it's a projectile, because dogs don't like projectile. Or you can give them a whack with it because they just don't like it. And it's a no, and then correction.
Unless you're Ralph, he loves it.
Well, exactly right. And you got to find out what works for your dog too.
The can
So,
monster. Oh my god.
oh my God, the can monster. Did I ever bring you the can monster? Do I still have it? I never did.
You never did.
Oh my God, that number one, that's terrible. But number two, maybe I'm gonna try the can monster.
Yes. Maybe there's a reason why you kept it.
Maybe there is a reason why I kept it. I'm so sorry. I take all of your things and I take forever to give it back. Eventually, it's just going to be a slow transfer of
It's
me
a
having all
masterpiece too.
all of Veronique's things. Can I borrow Ralph? Can I borrow Ralph for a week?
Sure.
I'm gonna have all of Vero's things. But no, it's very interesting. So she is very skittish, which we're not used to with Gibbs. And again, that's one of those things where you don't know, like some of the things that I've noticed, and it makes me question, like her training, if she had any at all, was she's crazy clumsy. Crazy clumsy. I
That's so funny.
I can't remember if I told you this or not, but I was like out for dinner with friends or something like that,
It's her big feet.
and yes, and she's got huge feet, like crazy huge feet. But anyways, I was out for dinner with friends or whatever, and I get this text from my husband, and he was like, um, Lou just tripped going up the stairs and then farted. And I sent him back
She's
like a
my
gif.
spirit animal.
Yes. I was like, and I was like, it only makes me love her more. It's just so funny, but she is clumsy, and it it really reminds you, like, if you are happy with your dog's behavior and all the work that you put into it, it makes you appreciate like all the work that you did. So with Gibbs, like when I took him out when he was a puppy, when he was training, it was like jumping up on, it's like some of the agility stuff, right, to get their muscles working and their balance good and stuff like that. Like you should see Lou run. Like she's like, that Friends episode where they look at the different types of runners and how Phoebe runs with her arms like all over the place.
Yeah.
Lou's like Phoebe. She's like a Phoebe. it's, it's so awkward to watch, but so
Oh.
funny. You need to come and see her run. It's like I'm embarrassed for her.
Lou.
Maybe I'm overselling it, but she just looks like a goof and a half. But anyway, so I can tell that none of that was done with her, and you can see it like even like in her back muscles. Do you remember when we went to go pick her up and there was those other people there with their Lou, another female
Mhm.
Weimaraner, and they were both running around, and he said you can tell she hasn't run much, like her hips look stiff or something like that. Remember he
Oh,
mentioned
yeah.
something like that? I see what he's talking about when she runs, but she's getting better and she's loosening up, and
Like they
again,
don't extend.
they don't. You can just see her back quads, like her glutes, are tight. They're very tight. So they're almost like stiff, like she doesn't articulate the joint like when she's running.
Okay.
But she's starting to loosey loo a little bit. The more we take her out running, right? I can't wait to take her to the cottage. Oh my god! I hope with those big feet she can swim, and that will help with her
Yeah.
with the joints too. Oh, I'm praying she's a swimmer. I want to
Mm.
swim. I want to swim dog. Anyways, she's a total sweetheart, but again, super skittish. She's really she's taking the longest to warm up to my kids. Now, when I say kids, one of my kids is 6 foot like 5 and going strong. So he's tall. So I that again, being like a super submissive and skittish dog, when he walks into the room, she's like intimidated by his sheer height. I am too sometimes. Can you blame her? But um and like we can be sitting on the couch, and if my other son, like sometimes he just is walking down the stairs like slowly, and she growls at him. So again, like super reactive, and I don't know
Mm.
whether she's unsure about him or whether she's guarding me. So it's figuring out all these little tiny little behaviors. And I was telling Veronique about a terrible story today, and my there was horrible weather in our city today, so the school buses were canceled, and our kids don't go to school because there's like nobody goes to school and the school buses are canceled, so the teachers don't do any like major work or anything because there's nobody there. So kids were at home for the day. One of them wasn't feeling well. My husband went to work. I went to work. My husband got home and he went upstairs to get changed. And Lou walks in, looks him dead in the eye, and squats and pees on the floor. So my husband, of being like any husband out there, or many husbands out there, I shouldn't say like any husband, making it sound like it's everybody, gets a little bit angry, right? Like, and he went to grab her just to be like no, and then take her outside and make her go pee pees outside. But he was like, no. And when he went to go grab her, she slipped away from him and went running downstairs. So he was like, oh, no, you don't. And then went chasing after her and then cornered her in our family room. And then when he went to like go grab her again to like send her outside. And again, my husband's like also like 6'3", big dude, chasing her down. She got man chased through the house. And when he grabbed her, she pooped. Di- diarrhea. Like he literally scared the poop out of her.
Oh,
And I was trying to say this to my husband, and I can't remember whether I've said this on the show before, that it's easy to get angry in moments like that, and especially when you're training and you're frustrated when your dog isn't getting it, but there's no need to yell or shout or like no or like rah, rah. You just have to be firm. Like, and especially
mhm.
with a dog like that where she's like super submissive and skittish and a little bit scared already. I was like, don't get mad. Clearly, you're just gonna make things worse.
Yeah.
Just you just have to be firm, like no, and then take her outside. And then once she does the peepees, then you reward the behavior that you like, right? Correct the one that you don't, and reward the one that you do. And then we find out after the fact that the kids never let them out during the day. So she had to pee and she doesn't know how to tell us, right?
Yeah.
All these little things about getting a new dog. Like there's pros and cons to getting a puppy versus like a rescue, because at least a puppy, you know what you've done and you know the history and you can
Yeah.
shape like a well-rounded dog. And it's a little bit challenging um, to do that with an older dog where you don't necessarily know the background. And my husband had true concerns about it because literally she'll be eating her food, and if you open up like a plastic bag or something in the kitchen, she jumps. Like she's that
Oh,
nervous. Yeah. And he's wondering if there was maybe like borderline like abuse maybe in a previous home or something,
could
because he's
be.
one of their rescues that he had as a child, where they knew that she came from an abusive situation. He said very, very, very similar behaviors.
Oh,
Yeah, and there's a couple of marks on her, like on her neck, like her skin's like sort of worn down, like at the front of it. So again, you wonder if they were like heaving on her with a leash or something. Who knows? You can guess, and I don't want to assume the worst of people, but you never know how people treat their dogs and their family members behind
yeah.
closed doors, right? But having said that, she's very sweet. She's very submissive. She doesn't know how to play either. She's slowly coming along with play, but she didn't like play at first. Like if we tried to
Aw.
play with Gibbon and his rope and he would start like tugging on the rope and we're like, yeah, come on, boy, come on. Like, and if it was anywhere near her, she would growl. Like she'd be like, I don't like, and she would hide behind you. So
Aw.
she's like, there's a bit of fear there for sure with her when I'm training with her and trying to get her to execute something. You can tell there's confusion and like and a little bit of fear. So again, just week 3, she's still a little unsure. She's definitely settling in. Her and her cousin get along just fine. There hasn't been any fights or like that growling where she's unsure. With the play has been like
Yeah.
the worst of it. But
Go Lou. She'll
yeah.
get there.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. She's good. Her recall is better than Gibbon. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. So when we take our dogs for a walk in the park across the street, there's like this row housing, and their backyards go out into this big field where we let our dogs off leash and run in the field. So in one of the backyards, there is this a monster Rottweiler.
Oh.
He's like a monster, and like you can when we walk past in the field past that one house, you can hear him at the door. It's like boom, 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 like at the window. And then sometimes the owner will open the door and I always would say to Gibbon, you want to go say hi to your friend? Because he would run to his fence and you can see him pop up because the fence is like a short fence. And
Yeah.
Gibbon would just stand there. So there's like the backyard, a wooden fence, a little tiny like green area, and then a chain link fence that separates like city property from like these people's or whatever. So Gibbon stands at the chain link fence looking at his buddy, and his buddy pops over the wooden fence, and they just look at each other. Like they don't bark at each other or anything. They literally just stand there, and Gibbon just like does a little dance, like is wiggling his bum, and the other guy's like and it's just like that. Like he's like and Gibbon's like and then like that's all they do, right? Well, with Miss Lou in town now, when Gibbon's buddy pops up over the fence, she loses it, and then it starts a bark fest that I'm sure drives all the row houses insane. So now I'm like, oh man,
Aw.
Gibbs. I don't want him going to
Lou.
see his buddy anymore. Lou, shoosh la boosh, Lou. We got to get that Bork under control.
Yeah.
The Borkins. But other than that, she's doing well. But just some of the things to take into consideration when you go puppy versus
Marshall.
rehome. Yeah, Marshall rescue,
Marshall.
rehome. Marshall.
Marshall. Speaking of rehoming,
Mm-hmm.
do you know the dog named Brody? Best boy Brody.
Yes.
He has a face deformity.
Oh yes.
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 So Brody was bitten when he was a puppy, and he looks like a cartoon.
Like a Picasso. They call him Picasso dog, don't
Yeah,
they?
like a
Yeah.
Picasso. So his snoot is crooked. He has like an eye that's bigger than the other. His tongue hangs out. You can see him on Instagram at Best Boy Brody. So the couple that has Brody, they saw, I think it was the girl's sister sent her a picture of like a doppelganger, a Brody doppelganger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the features aren't as I don't know, like exaggerated, but it's the same features. Like this second dog is like Brody.
It's like it's the same.
Yeah, so this couple is in Alberta and the dog was available for adoption in Texas and they adopted the dog. So
Oh,
now they have two little crooked snoots.
they do.
So cute.
Let's boop Picasso's.
Yeah.
What's his name? Brody? What?
Brody.
How do you spell
Best
Brody?
Best
Best
Boy
Brody?
Brody. Brodie.
Best. Oh yeah, there, got him. Yeah. Aww, Broadsters.
Mm-hmm.
He does. It's a very strange face. It's like somebody twisted his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, they are gonna get another one. Here she
Yes.
is. I think her
Did you
name's
find
Ray.
her?
Yep. There's a photo that they posted of her. I find like Brody's like contorted face is way more contorted than hers, but in the same direction and everything.
Yeah. Oh, I see her here. It's like a side by side.
Yep. Raven. Yes. Oh my
So
god.
cute.
They are so cute, and that's a lovely story. Reunited, and it feels so good.
Twinsies. So I
Twinsies.
thought that was a cute story.
That's a very cute story. I love it. Boop.
Boop.
Boop to
Boop.
Broadster and Raven.
Mm-hmm. I think
Well,
that's all for me.
that's all for me too. Is it a wrap?
It's a wrap.
Is that up? Is that up?
What kind of wrap?
It's a doko wrap. A snoot wrap?
Snoot that up.
A wrap.
Well, tune in next week on Let's Boop Snoots.
Boop.